Hello and welcome to Your Career Revolution presented by the Entrepreneur Source. My name is Mike Toper and we've got a special edition this month as we celebrate International Women's Day, which takes place on Wednesday, March 8th. And so we've got a great panel of TES coaches and experts joining me to talk a little bit about women in the business and the franchising world and kind of celebrate that equity among the genders. And I'm joined by my co-host here, Tamara Loring, who is the Chief of Ideology for TES. Tamara, very excited to have this. And actually, TES has been very involved with the women's movement and the women in the workplace, having just sponsored the Women's Franchising Committee at the IFA, the International Franchising Association's conference the last week of Las Vegas. So you've had plenty of experience in talking about this and this specific topic.
Absolutely, Mike, and super excited to be here with two wonderful ladies. So let's do this, ladies.
Absolutely. And you mentioned those guests. I've got Patricia McGraw and Lisa Gustafson. Ladies, if you'll just kind of introduce yourselves. We'll start with Patricia.
Hi, I'm Patricia McGraw. I have been a business owner with the Entrepreneur Source now 2.5 years, and I love it. It has been life-changing for me.
And thank you for having me. I'm honored to be with this illustrious group. Lisa Gustafson. I spent 30 years in corporate America in very large blue chip corporations. And for the past 5 years had the dream of my life of being a business owner come true through the Entrepreneur Source. And it's changing my life and my family's legacy.
Excellent. And again, you guys, each of you have had, decades of experience in the corporate world when it comes to that side of things. Now, obviously, TES coaches. And I'd kind of like to start there again, as the whole point of this is to celebrate women in business, International Women's Day being celebrated, all month long, really. I wanted to start and see if you guys can kind of talk about our journey. But first of all, we also want to mention the summit coming up at the end of the month, right, Tamara?
That's right. Many of our ladies and men too work with the Small Business Administration. And at the end of the month, they're hosting the second annual summit. And this is going to be the Office of Women's Business Owners at the SBA in combination with the National Women's Business Council who are hosting this event. So hopefully when you're listening to this podcast, there will be a link to the blog. Check it out. There are going to be a lot of fireside chats, a lot of panel calls, anything to support women entrepreneurship and women in business. So super excited about that event coming up here at the end of the month.
Yeah, we love to see it. And that's part of why we're doing this podcast. So again, as I mentioned, Patricia and Lisa each have decades of experience in the business world and the corporate world, and especially when it comes to working your way through business. And we'll start with Patricia. Can you just a little bit kind of discuss your journey to get to where you were as now a career coach?
Sure. I always wanted to own my own business. So I always had the entrepreneurial spirit, but I wasn't sure how to connect the dots. So I worked my way through corporate. I started my career in education, transitioned into senior living, climbed that corporate ladder. It seems like the better I did, the more I got transferred. So that ceiling that I wanted to break through, there were always obstacles that stopped me from getting the income and the lifestyle that I wanted. So in senior living, I was director of sales and marketing, and then I became a regional director of sales and marketing. And my purpose has always been helping others. So when I think of that common thread through education or corporate, I'm a helper. I'm a giver. I like promoting people into better spaces. So going through and learning about, what TES offered, now I'm able to do that for others.
And speaking of doing for others, are you able to help the birds outside the window there? It sounds like wherever you are, it sounds amazing. Like you're in some great nature.
Like Cinderella, maybe the animals are following me. I'm up in the mountains right now.
God, that sounds gorgeous. I'm not sure where you are, but it's a beautiful day in North Carolina today. I hope it's the same for you because that sounds great.
I am in North Carolina right now.
So good. We got the same thing going. Lisa, as far as you, can you tell us just a little bit about your background? And I believe you've been a TES coach here for now almost 5 years or right around there. What kind of led up to that?
Yeah, so I was progressively increasing my influence, my managerial capacity in very large blue chip corporations like Knight Ridder newspapers, March of Dimes, Kinko's, and then when I left corporate America, Kroger. So very big companies, and always did very well. I was a person that brought things to fruition. I would be told, make this happen. I'd make it happen, and then I'd expand it. One of the last things that I did with the division of Kroger that I worked with, I took a very small program that was in one little city in southern Colorado, and I expanded it to 9 states. And so just always taking things and expanding and making things happen, right, for these big companies. And then at the age of 53, with 12 years at Kroger and my husband there 30, they sold off 5 of their 32 divisions. And Kroger's been around for 175 years, and there's a reason why, because they change. And so at age 53, my husband and I were let go from the number 17 company on the Fortune 500 list. And I said, if you can't be secure with the nation's longest, largest traditional grocery chain, then there is no security. And that's when I decided to take that irritation of being let go from no fault of my own and use it like the grain of sand that creates the pearl. Mm-hmm. But I was very blessed in corporate America. But I understand the need then to have complete control and to put complete value on ourselves.
Well, that kind of leads to the next thing I want to ask, Lisa, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as you both have mentioned, you and Patricia have weaved, and Tamara obviously as well, have weaved your way kind of climbing the business ladder. I was curious about, as you kind of just alluded to, what kind of challenge that you've seen along the way. And I guess, Lisa, you can start since you just kind of started mentioning it to it, and then we'll go to Patricia. As far as women specifically.
Challenges do you mean in corporate America?
Like in corporate America and in the franchising world as you're kind of going through this?
For me, the big change was when I recognized all that I had done, right? Everything that I had done for corporate America, and recognized, oh my goodness, I want to make that happen for me, but I don't have a framework or the basic business acumen to make it happen. And so then to take everything that I am and apply it to a proven system like franchising. And when I work with women, especially in their 50s, like I am, who have really benefited by the past couple of decades of momentum for women in the business, but still brush up against that glass ceiling, to be able to say, what if we gave you a playbook and then you could bring all your initiative and you could maximize that playbook to bring it to fruition for however much you want it to be. And that's my biggest passion for franchising in women, is because in corporate America, there have been great strides. I saw great strides, but we still, I think some of the Zippia demographics show that in corporate America, women still make 83 cents per $1 of men. And so I like franchising because you have that ability to maximize a system, but bring all of the initiative with absolutely no fetters, totally unencumbered.
And Patricia, how have you seen that change? Again, you've spent a number of years in the corporate world getting to where you are. How have you kind of seen that shift, and what have you seen as far as women kind of taking larger roles?
So I'm very lucky. I get to work with very successful people, and most of them are happy with where they are financially. They're happy with their compensation, but they don't know that there is that ceiling. So when I'm working with a woman and she realizes, and a lot of people think, I have to travel 4 days a week to make the money that I'm making. I have to sacrifice my family to make what I'm making. And when they see the opportunities that are out there through franchising, it changes that mindset that there are many things that they can do. They can increase really their financials. They can leave that legacy, as Lisa said, for their families. So it's really eye-opening. Most individuals set their own limits. So when I can be a part of helping people set their sights higher and realizing there are opportunities that you can work from home, there are opportunities that you can have that lifestyle you want, kind of a hybrid model. Take that skill set, get rid of the ceiling, and the only thing limiting you is yourself. So it's a pretty powerful conversation, and it's changed a lot of people's lives.
And Tamara, we talk also about franchising, and part of celebrating an International Women's Day in this month, one of the things that TES talks about is embracing equity and what that means, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been part of the franchising world for over 20 years, and it's all about achieving self-sufficiency and financial freedom. And sometimes I guess I take for granted that that's what it's like in the world of franchising. And as a business owner, that there's a direct or your effort, there's a direct reward for the effort that you put in. If you're a great business owner and you take responsibility, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. It depends on how good you are as a business owner. So it's refreshing, or it's at least helpful for me to remember what it may be like coming from a corporate setting. Lisa, you were talking about glass ceilings, and just recognizing that there's opportunity if people know to look outside of their current comfort zone. So no wonder there's a revolution brewing, your career revolution, reimagine and reclaim the life of your dreams. And I love the fact that these two ladies, amongst all our coaches, are helping women and men just reimagine what it could look like if the current path that they're on is no longer serving them. So I've definitely seen it in franchising. However, I have to say, at the Entrepreneur Source, 75% of our leadership are women. So I almost feel like it's women dominated. When I look at our team members, I think I looked it up over the weekend, 56% of us are women. However, when you look at our franchisee base, we are equal to what the statistics are in franchising, and only about 30% of our franchisees are women. And for many, many years, for decades, as a matter of fact, I've always wondered about that, feeling like not only is franchising the best kept secret, but our business model in particular, why wouldn't more women be attracted to it? And I know Patricia and Lisa probably have some opinions about that, but I feel like we need to get the word out, because this could be an amazing vehicle for so many more people than just the men out there.
You know, I really agree with that, especially after the pandemic, where people said, you know what, I can have something that's closer to home, right, that has that lifestyle. So we always look at ideal lifestyles in terms of income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity. And so many of us, at least me, during the 80s and 90s, when, you know, we were workaholics, that we had to show up. You know, I covered 9 states. If someone said, I want you to drive from Southern Colorado to Cheyenne, Wyoming, hit 17 stores, say hi to everybody, check them out, do an audit, come back and pick up your daughter from daycare at 5 p.m. I was like, I'm your girl. I'm your girl, right? I mean, so, but now after the pandemic, we've recognized, hey, we like being around more with our family and so forth. And I had a great woman. Her name is Wendy, and she agreed to let me tell her story. You know, she was awarded the J.D. Powers Award for Customer Service for running the customer service for a huge international insurance company. But her children had just started college, and one was on the West Coast in college volleyball, and one was in Mississippi playing college football. And she wanted to travel on Fridays to see her children play collegiate sports. And she couldn't get off. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't let her off. And she'd been in the business for over 2 decades. 2 decades, and she was awarded. She was an award-winning manager for him, and she couldn't get off. And so we looked at home-based virtual businesses for her, and she ended up going into one so that she can control her schedule. And we know she's going to be award-winning, but she can then fly on Fridays to see her children play college sports. So I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to talk to women who both want to have that full life with their children and their husbands and their wives, but also have an entrepreneurial business, but be able to command their schedule.
And Patricia, just looking at a little bit of your background, I know that as a TES coach, which you and Lisa obviously are, you have had a number of female clients yourself. And I wanted to know, how have you been able to help them and kind of talk them through that dynamic of perhaps business ownership and how that may differ from any experience you may have had working with male clients?
So I was talking to Tamara earlier about this, and the fact that I'm a woman, I don't want to say I relate better to women, because I like helping both men and women explore their options. But when I can share my story with a woman, I think it's more meaningful because we're walking the same walk. And that having female mentors, so women in business ownership, helping other women get into business ownership, that's how I was introduced to my TES coach, was from a female friend saying, Patricia, you need to do something more. You're better than what you're doing now. Talk to the coach. So I think that's one thing that women can be a lot better at, is being more intentional, networking and helping each other. I really love it when I can launch somebody into something spectacular, better than they ever imagined. So if every woman took the time to talk to a friend and say, look, there are things out there that you don't have to sacrifice. And even there are those hybrid businesses where you can work from home. But when you are a business owner, you set your own schedule. Even if you're a full-time owner, operator, boots on the ground, there is that flexibility because you own it, and you deserve it to yourself to explore and learn what that's about. If you've been successful in corporate, you can be successful as a business owner. I would not have done this without the support of a franchise. I always knew I wanted to get into business ownership. I wasn't sure how to connect the dots. And that's one of the things that we help with, is focus on where you want to be, who you want to become. We help remove those obstacles and connect you to a whole flurry of individuals that will help you get there. But if you know a woman, you are a woman, and you want to explore self-sufficiency, use a coach. It's such a safe space, and it really is life-changing. And I always say to clients, at the end of the day, you're going to choose the opportunity that works best for you, but know that there are opportunities out there other than what you currently are experiencing.
And not to, it's fine. We could pat ourselves on the back right here. Tamara, you mentioned it earlier, and that kind of speaks to the entrepreneur source. And as you mentioned, some of the power structure and the way the coaches and yourself are built out, that there is a pretty sufficient and good female influence in there. You're also mentioning to me, Tamara, about web. What is that? And can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Sure, absolutely. We're so passionate about women being empowered by business. So if you think about what that stands for, it's WEB, Women Empowered by Business. And like Patricia was saying, people fear striking out on their own. They think it's going to be something that is insurmountable. It's going to take an incredibly long time to replace maybe the great income they did have in corporate America. Patricia, Lisa, do you care to comment on that? You both started in a business. What was it like for you?
Well, my first year, I matched my corporate income. And my second year, I almost tripled it. So I would say it's not, when you find the right opportunity, it's fun. It doesn't feel like work. And franchising is one of those opportunities where I have a ton of support from the entrepreneur source. But also I can work as much or as little as I want to. And I joke and I say this is one of the easiest things I've ever done. Not that it's easy, but it fits me. And that's what the entrepreneur source does, is help people find that opportunity that fits them, that suits them, that matches their personality. So when you find that fit, it just doesn't feel like work. And I don't know, Tamara, there's so many coaches that renew there and they renew and renew because it doesn't feel like work.
For many, this has become not just a business opportunity, but their life's calling. And the interesting thing is most of our clients actually don't even ever know that the entrepreneur source is a business opportunity. So it's the exception, not the rule, that somebody is attracted to our concept, because quite frankly, coaching is not for everyone. Patricia, you seem to make it feel, you said, when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work, right? But being a business owner is not for everyone. And maybe this kind of business is not for everyone either. Lisa, how about for you?
You know, there are realities that are going on in my life, in my husband's life, and our children's life that we never dreamed. Never dreamed. I was a good corporate girl, 401k, maybe a college savings. And I had no idea how to get an LLC or do anything. So the idea of becoming a business owner was always a dream, but that business acumen, I didn't know. I didn't know anything about business as far as creating one. And so for me, within my second year of being a business owner, that was made possible through franchising, through the entrepreneur source, that gave me the business acumen. They said, here's our business acumen. We're going to just give it to you and help you and bring all these people around you to do it. So then in my second year, I was able to exceed my six-figure salary that I had earned over 30 years. It took me 30 years to get that. But then the amazing part was then in year 3, it increased. And then unbelievably, and, thank the Lord, last year it doubled. And so we have restructured our corporate. We've gone to being an S Corp. We're doing tax planning. We are doing investments now. We're paying cash out of the business for our son's college. We have eliminated all debt except for our house. We are able to generously impact our community of faith around the world. And I mean, there are things happening in our life that I always say, I don't feel like I have a license to be able to even talk about, let alone drive. So entrepreneurship, or through the entrepreneur source, really has helped me. And the other thing that I love about franchising is that, I looked at the top industries for women who are in senior leadership in corporate America, and it's HR, education, health, and hospitality. And that accounts for like a huge chunk of senior leaders. But in franchising, you have 80 industries. You're not isolated just to HR. You could go in and be a business owner, because franchising levels the need for you to be an expert in anything. You just bring that initiative, that drive, that collaborative spirit, that ability to work with people, and you can go into 80 industries and not be isolated to 4 in the corporate world. And those are the possibilities that franchising just, opens up to so many women and men.
And just go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike. So that was a life-changing moment for me, quite frankly, Lisa, when I realized that I was no longer pigeonholed, that I could participate in over 80 different industry sectors. And I remember hearing people say that, would you believe that most people who run those businesses had no prior industry experience or maybe an affinity towards that business? And the first time I heard that, it sounded like, well, that sounds like a recipe for disaster, because I didn't appreciate the value a proven system brings, that they have the proven recipe, they have the playbook. If you bring sweat equity and hard work and good ethics to it, then you can execute on it. So yes, I mean, that changed my opportunities forever. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. I won't grow old enough to be able to leverage all those opportunities that are out there. And then the other thing, Lisa, that you said too, is that you're not limited to a 2%, 4% increase, or however much your boss thinks that you should earn, regardless of gender. When you're in business for yourself, the sky is the limit. And then, Patricia, something else that you said that I think is so valuable. People have this misconception about business ownership and franchising. They hear that so many fail and they think franchising is all about fast food and French fries. But one of the things that I've learned to value about not only business ownership, but within a franchise model, is the community. You don't need to go at it alone. Lisa, you spoke about the fact that you didn't have maybe the business acumen, but you were able to ramp up faster than you probably would have had you tried to figure it out all by yourself. So are there challenges within business ownership? Are there challenges within franchising? Absolutely. But it's the community that you get to be a part of, and you get to, you get to figure out how far you want to take it. And I feel like every woman should hear that message.
Yeah, and just to kind of tie a bow around our conversation, that's well said, Tamara. But as we celebrate, the month for International Women's Day, going off along that, again, just to kind of wrap things up, I'm curious to Patricia and Elisa, where do you see the growth from here? Where do you see that's encouraging as far as women in business and franchising, and where do you see it progressing to for each of you? We'll start with Patricia.
I was thinking about, how many women I work with. I would say about 45% of my active clients are women. I think that when women have that mentor and somebody that can say to them, like I had that friend who said, you can do more than this. And I wanted something that I just didn't know how to connect the dots. So until I had a franchise, I was kind of lost and waffling. And there are opportunities that fit everybody's income and lifestyle dreams if they find the right one. And I think more women will start looking, should start looking, and can have that lifestyle that they desire, that balance, if it is a balance. But there's something out there for everybody, and just explore and know that there's people out there that want to help. And I will say one other thing about franchising. It is a healthy environment, because it's an environment where everybody wants you to succeed. It's not like corporate where one person can have the job or the title. Everybody can do well, and everybody celebrates that. And it's part of that healthy lifestyle that I wanted. It's not just having time to do things I need to do, but it's also a healthy work environment where my colleagues support me, I support them, and we celebrate each other's successes. And I think women are really good at that.
Yeah. And Lisa, what do you see going forward?
First of all, I see a lot of encouragement. 31% of all franchise owners are women, and that doesn't include the husband-wife teams or perhaps co-owners. Those are women ownership. And so, that's increasing. They make higher wages. They compensate themselves higher than they do in corporate America. I think the biggest thing, though, is that as women, we naturally share the information that we have. It is all about us looking over our shoulders and saying, I have found a different way. May I share it with you? And then you can become educated and possibly explore that way and see if it's right for you. And that's why I love the entrepreneur source. Having been laid off, having to be in my 50s, going through all those things is just to share with them and say, there's another way. Do you want to learn about it? And we believe in it so much that we actually offer it at no expense to those people that we work with, understanding that primarily we want them to be confident about a whole portfolio of opportunities for them. So I see it becoming more and more possibility driven, which is what we're about. But I believe it's about women looking over their shoulders and saying, come with me, learn. Can I share with you my experience? See if it might fit you, and let's explore.
That's excellent. Not for nothing, but the job that I have now was referred to me by a woman, so I'm always going to be thankful for that. Tamara, my goodness, this has been such a good conversation. If only there was some place that people could learn more about these types of ideals. Where might that be, Tamara?
Oh my goodness. If they haven't seen me hold up the book before, I would say they should do that now. Check it out on Amazon, Your Career Revolution, Reimagine and Reclaim the Life of Your Dreams. In there, you'll see success stories. You'll see QR codes. I encourage you, engage with a coach. You have control and you can create that better and brighter future for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and just a reminder, excellent too. Just a reminder that the Office of Women's Business Ownership of the Small Business Administration will be holding their second annual Women's Business Summit at the end of the month virtually. You're going to want to check that out. You can go to the TES website, theentrepreneurssource.com, to find the link for that. And I want to thank my guests, Patricia McGraw, along with Lisa Gustafson, and of course, Tamara Lauren, for joining me. Ladies, this has been very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Toper, and you've been watching and listening to Your Career Revolution, presented by the Entrepreneur Source.